Welcome to the Hello World project. So in order to get to this project, what you guys can do is you can go onto Google and you can type in Raspberry Pi projects. After typing that into Google, you'll get a Google query where the top link will be Raspberry Pi projects. You can click on that and you can click on the all new pathways. And if you scroll down, this purple one on the second row is the Python pathway. Over here, it's telling you Introduction to Python. Our first project is Hello World, and we'll be doing more from this template. So we can click Start Project under the Hello Worlds template, and we're going to get taken over to the beginning of our Hello World project. So in this project, what can we expect? Well, over here, you'll notice that these are kind of the structures of the project. Each one will take you through some steps. And then in going through those steps, on the page, you'll notice there's these green checkboxes. So what you guys are going to be doing is you're going to start at the top of the first page and you're going to start by reading. And then whenever you have a green checkbox, you mean that you're going to do what it says and then check the checkbox and it will dull out and showcase that you have in fact completed it. So you will while we're making this project, find out what the Python programming language can do by writing an interactive project that uses emoji. Now, emojis are small colorful images that you guys know that are used to add extra meaning to messages. And it actually means picture word in Japanese, which I verified with this artificial intelligence. The word emoji comes from the Japanese words picture, and moji, character. In Japanese, the term emoji refers to the same concept it does in English, a small digital image or icon used to express an idea or emotion in electronic communication. In Japan, they're commonly used in text messages on social media platforms, just like in other parts of the world, just like we do here in the United States. So our project's going to use emoji, and we're going to learn three main things. We're going to learn how to print text out. So you can see that it's been printed Hello World. You're going to learn how to do that. And you're going to learn how to get user input, where it's going to be blinking over here. And it's waiting for you, the user, to hit enter for something to happen in the program or to answer a question in the program. Or if I hit enter, notice it's just telling me stuff. This one's a question. How many sides? I can now answer that question and it will do something with it. So you guys will learn to print and to use input, and you guys are going to learn how to store text and store numbers inside of variables, a way to reuse and store information. You guys will use functions to organize your code, and let's get started. So we played with this over here and we can kind of see how this works. I can hit enter again. What do I like? Teaching. That sounds cool. You can make a project about teaching. It pulled my word from over here. So if you click run, you can play with this and hit enter, and every time you'll notice it's a little different. You might even notice when you're playing with it, the time is updating to what the actual time is. So play with this, try and figure out how it works, pause the video, and the best projects are the ones where you do yourself. So pause this as often as you need, then check that off when you finish and move on to say hello. Say hello. It's traditional to write a program to output hello worlds when you learn a new programming language. You can see it over here. And it says open the Hello World starter project. Trinket will open in another browser tab. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to click this link. And this is a website, Trinket, where we can write a website, or we can write code in this website in the web browser. So it took us over to a link, and this is where we're going to be building our projects. Now, instructions are going to be over here. And it says open the project. I've successfully opened it. I click the checkbox and I move on to the next line. The line hashtag exclamation mark bin Python 3 tells Trinket you're using the Python 3, the latest version. The import line tells Python you're going to use code that you didn't write. So we can see this is saying that we're using Python, and the import lines over here is saying that we're using code that we did not write. Then it says in Python, print outputs text, words, or numbers to the screen. Lines beginning with a hashtag or comments, they explain code to humans and are ignored by Python. So we can see, find the hashtag put code to run below here line. That is put code to run below here line on line 11. So I'm going to click on line 12 down below, and I'm going to see that blinker blink, and I'm ready to go. Then it says, click below that line, the flashing cursor, it shows you where you'll type. Then type the code to print hello. So here's the code. This is the project. It says put code to run under here, which is right below line number 11. So on line number 12, what it wants me to write is print hello. So at this stage in it, I might want to split my screen so I can look at this while I'm also writing it on half of my screen. So I am going to split my screen. The easiest way to split my screen is going to be holding Windows and clicking the arrow keys. The shortcut, as I'm just Googling for you guys to see, is you hit this Windows key and you click either the left or the right arrow. So if I do that, Windows left, now this is on the left, and I'm going to go to my mouse up at the top where my code is for Trinket, and then I'm going to take this, I'm going to hold down, click, and I'm going to drag this out to the other side. And then to snap it into place, while clicking on this side, I'm going to make sure that I do Windows right. That way I have this now in half and half. That way I have my instructions, and that way I have my code. So I'm going to move myself over here. I'm going to go onto this line, and now that I can see it and I can type it, I'm going to go ahead and say print, parentheses, apostrophe, capital H, hello. So I've typed that, and then it says test. So I finish this step, I check it off. Test. Click on the run button to run your code and Trinket the output word of PR on the right. So I'm going to go ahead and click this run button, this one over here, and if I click it, I output hello, and the program successfully worked over here. So it says over here, debug. If you get an error, check your code carefully. In this example, the single quotes around hello are missing, so Python doesn't know if it's supposed to be text. So print over here, hello. What that means is when you do not have those apostrophes, Python doesn't know if it's supposed to be a variable or a word, or it doesn't know exactly what it's supposed to be. If I were to type in a lowercase h for hello, and I were to go look at my emoji tab, I might have a hello over there, but I do not. So if I type this even, this is going to get me an error. But if I go ahead and I type something like happy, happy is in this little library. So I could type over here happy, and happy would in fact end up printing. So if I print happy, instead of getting the word happy, I'm going to get a little emoji for happy. If I were to re-add in those parentheses, or sorry, those apostrophes, then I'm going to get the word happy. So you can see that if the word is inside of those apostrophes, then we get the word back. But if I get rid of those apostrophes, then what I'm going to get is I'm going to get the emoji back. So when we have this word over here and it's in black, this is considered a variable, and anytime the word happy appears, it's saying instead, put that. Like let's say I copy that happy emoji 3 times. Hopefully that's going to end up working. If I run that, the emoji is broken. I broke the emoji. Let's see if I can fix that with some deleting, and then I'm going to re-add a happy emoji. So this is how you can re-add emoji. So happy emoji, I just go look up online for like a happy emoji, go to maybe emojipedia.org. So I'm going to go to this emoji, copy it, and go bring it back over to where it was supposed to be, paste. In this case, I'm going to paste in 3 of them. So now what's going to end up happening is happy, instead of writing 1, we're going to get all 3 of them. So whatever is currently inside of what the word happy means, so happy now has 2, put that apostrophe there. So happy is equal to 2 of them. So whatever this is, it's going to end up printing, and that's considered a variable over here. So we could see that in this case, the reason we got that bug was Python didn't know if it was supposed to be text, in other words, with a string, which is going to be written like that, or it didn't know if it was supposed to be a variable, which is going to be represented as some sort of thing that we say it to do over here. So make sure that you have, in the case of this one, we're trying to print the word hello world to start, so apostrophe, and we're going to change that back to hello. So print hello. Then we we finished this step over here, we debugged it, it ends up working. In Python, I've mentioned this word a bunch, a variable is used to store text or numbers. So it was storing that emoji over there. Variables make it easier for humans to read code. You can even use the same variable in lots of places across your code. So every time I wanted to type in happy, or let's say print love, I can reuse the word love, and instead of, is love not one of them? Maybe it's heart. Let's try heart. Love must not be in that. Every time I want heart to appear, I can make heart appear by, printing it that way. It's very easy to be able to reuse whenever I need it. So we can see that you can print more than one item at a time by including a comma in between items over here. So we were able to find the variable world. That variable world was over here. Let me just close out on this. You can see right there, that's where that variable is, and this whole emoji page is all variables. You can in fact even make your own emoji page, call it emoji 2.py, and then you could add in your own emojis here too. The only difference is if you want this to actually run, what you end up having to do is you're going to have to, on the first page over here, is just like we had from emoji import, you would have to write from emoji to imports. So basically you're just taking the stuff from this tab, which is why it's able to be used. So this line's telling us we used code from, something that someone else wrote in that case. Otherwise, I could just inside of this own page for something as like a useful character, I can say over here, love is equal to, let's say, go to this page again, love emoji, and maybe I want love to be equal to red heart sparkles, or heart on fire. I like that. So we have copy. I'm going to copy that in. So love is equal to that. So down below, if I print love, what's going to end up printing is, instead of the word love, it's going to print heart and then fire emoji over here. So you can do this in its own page, and for this specific command, I could get rid of all of these temporarily, and that would still work. So it still works over here because I'm doing it on its own page. However, if I were to take the word love and I were to make it inside of this tab over here, and I were to say over here, let's just copy and paste that, love is equal to that, and then I were to get rid of this line, and then I were to run it again, this is going to get me an error because it doesn't know the word love. It's currently in a database that we're not referencing. So that's why it's really important at the very beginning of a line that we need to reference the library that we're being used over here. So those lines to reference your library, again, are those lines up at the top over here that say from emoji import, and then you have a little star next to it, from date time import, which has a little star next to it, and from random import, rand int. So these are all going to be things that we are using throughout our program, and that's why they're up at the top over. So moving on, we finished that step on the progress, and then we have over here print hello world. So we can use a comma to write more than one thing at a time. So in the first line, we originally wrote print hello. Now we're going to add a comma and add the word world. So hello, after those apostrophes, comma, and then I can say the word world in this case. If I run that, you'll notice I get hello as the word, the string, because it has the apostrophes, and the world over here is an emoji because there are no apostrophes around it. If instead I were to add in those apostrophes and I were to run that, it is now a variable, not a string, and you can see that the word worlds appears. I get rid of those apostrophes again, and then again, the world back appears. So variables are stored, and strings will just simply write out exactly as it says in the text over here. So we print that over there. If you're missing that comma, you might get an error, so make sure you check for that. But we have that comma, so I'm going to check that and move on to the next step. And now I'm going to add another print line over here. So on line 13, I'm going to write prints, and then this line is going to say, we have apostrophes, so this is going to be a string, welcome to, and then we're going to have comma, Python. So this one over here, try and think in your head before I click run what's going to happen. That one has an apostrophe, that one doesn't. So when we run that, we're going to get welcome to as a word, and then Python is a variable in this tab over here, where Python stands for Snake Keyboard. So welcome to Snake Keyboard over here. So we are able to successfully print out that line as well, the second line, and then when we clicked run, it ended up working. It's a good idea to run your code after every change so you can fix your problems quickly. You'll notice I'm doing run after almost every single thing that I post, and that's super helpful. Make sure you check carefully for brackets, quotes, commas, and correct spelling. And at this point, if you have a Trinket account, you can click on the remix button to save a copy to your My Trinkets. So I would recommend that at the top right, you click sign up with your school email. And then once you're done and you're on here, click this button that says remix, which will allow this to be saved, where if you go to My Trinkets, you'll be able to get back to this over here, which one did I save it as? Hello World Starter Remix. I'll be able to get back to this in my code, and you'll see that it's able to be saved. So that's part one of the project. Hopefully this was more helpful for those of you guys getting started, and I'll see you guys in part two of the video. Peace.